up one. When you come back,
Yeah.
Who'd we lose?
In the meantime, we'll probably have solved it.
huh?
You won't have time for what?
Pick you up a flash drive.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Well, you're leaving.
All right. I think we're in place.
This 22nd.
We got Chester, Fred, Sid.
Although they're fast made.
Good morning. I'm just finishing my breakfast.
I know his batteries
Jim
are
and
but-
Christine are here with me in person.
Yay!
Can somebody say something just to make sure that we're able to hear you okay?
Can you hear me now?
Good morning.
Good morning.
I don't think you can.
All right, Sydney's coming through too. Everything seems to be working. Well, this is the San Carlos Computer Club.
I have some.
I'm Scott Stimson from International Computer Solutions. Kind of on the countdown. We're a little over a month out before I'm heading to Alaska. So we'll continue these in-person meetings as long as I'm in San Carlos, but that may be mid-May I'll be getting out here, mid to late May.
It'll just be me and you.
That's right. And like so many of our meetings, I have sent out a document that I, like so many of our meetings, do not have in front of me. Let me take care of that. Where I have suggested some news topics and things that I find interesting, that I think you might find interesting. And at the same time, I'm more interested in anything you guys might have brought. I see Christine's got her hand up already. Why doesn't this window want to work? That's got to be the window. Work, window, work. Oh, why? All right, we'll do that. Okay. And that counts for here, this view too, and this view too. Okay. All right, I think we're finally organized. And Jonathan is with us, serving us breakfast and coffee. Right at the top here, just a quick status update. I'm still in lockdown mode, fairly happy. Haven't resolved the problem I was talking about last week, which was to a particular banking app, and I just haven't gotten back to it. But other than that, I'm still doing all the things I normally do on the phone. That one activity, I must do so infrequently, I have forgotten to go deal with it because I haven't dealt with it yet. Oh, wow. Have I got a great one for, I think, Chester. From a few months ago, we were talking about the Super Box. I don't know if you guys remember this, but it's a box. I think Chester brought it to our attention. A box being advertised in different venues, costing almost $300, like $250, $275. And the idea is you'd pay one price and have access to all content. And I think Chester was interested in knowing if it was legitimate and if it was worth it. And my impression of the Superbox at that time, and I qualify all this with, I'm not a security expert. I've just done computers for over 40 years of my life. So I did not think of the Superbox in terms of a security risk. I thought of it in terms of what a waste of money. I mean, why would you pay that much money for a device that you can get from Temu for a third that cost or a fourth that cost, that would have the same kind of capabilities? And really the only justification I could ever come up with is they're putting the content in front of you. So they have put together this box that finds the content and shoves it up in front of you so you don't have to think about it. You just plug it in, hook it up to your internet, and you can watch your shows and your TV and your news, your sporting events.
Oh, streaming box.
Streaming box. The Super Box is the name brand of this box that we're talking about. Don't write this down. You don't want this box.
All right, I'll write that down.
10,000 channels.
Say that again, Chester.
10,000 channels.
10,000 channels is what they
Well,
advertise.
this is just what they need.
So I put this in the back of my mind. In fact, I think I gave Chester advice at the time that if he wanted to spend that kind of money, it would be much cheaper to buy a couple of cheap boxes and set them up than it would be to pay for this. It was also inadequate. I mean, the amount of hardware there for the price did not justify it. You could get the same equipment for much cheaper. Of course, it wouldn't be set up with a service or anything. Anyway, I put it in the back of my mind. I didn't give it another thought. I just thought it was people taking advantage of people that didn't know better, selling a questionable service that doesn't have any real regulation at the moment. Well, I got onto a podcast that I listen to from time to time called Dark Net Diaries. And I forget the name of it because I listen to it so infrequently. Dark Net Diaries has this great host that goes into stories of things that happen in the underground of the internet. Infections that happen, disclosures that weren't made, just all these, and he does interviews with people that were involved in the issues. And this particular, and I left a link in the document to the podcast. It is an interview with the person that originally started doing the security review of the Superbox, only on a whim. Kind of, they are security people. I'm not. They did the same thing I did, but from a security perspective. They plugged it into their network. They isolated and watched what it was happening, and they found that this was a botnet.
Thank you.
That the Superbox, and it has been on the market for years, has actually been left out there. When these researchers discovered what it was, and after they discovered what it was, they went out to look on the marketplace, and they found other things like the box I'm talking about from Temu. They found things like that out there, and they brought them into the same research. They originally called this the Superbox botnet, but now they call it the Bad Box botnet because they found other infected, other compromised boxes. And what they've done is they've created a product. These are, when I say these are the bad people that are taking advantage of people. They have created a product that is so very enticing to Americans that they will just stick it in their life. They'll put it right in the middle of their network. They'll bring it to work and plug it into the TV set in the corner office and hook it up to their office network. And so what they discovered is that the Superbox, and they discovered this a while ago. They discovered this like 4 years ago. And this researcher we've finally reached a point where they can disclose all they know, because when they started disclosing about the Superbox and other boxes they found, the government, like the FBI, shut them down because they were already monitoring this stuff. And they wanted to keep it out there so that they could find out, because they didn't know who was behind all this. And there's influencers all over the place that are hawking these boxes online. There's websites out there. There's websites that change the name a bit, and they're selling these boxes. But at one point, the researcher says you could find it on a shelf in Walmart. They were selling these boxes. So it's a very interesting story. I would not have recognized it for what it was if Chester had brought up the Superbox being promoted to him at one point. And at the time, the reason I discouraged it was because I thought it was unfair for you to pay 4 times as much for hardware when it didn't seem reasonable for it. But here's the real story behind it. Oh, and the strangest part about it is the price. Like, they did find other boxes. Like the box I got from Temu, I've got it on a Wi-Fi network that is completely apart from all my stuff. I recognize that when I bought that device, there's a good chance I'm just telling China what I'm doing, instead of the U.S. government. But I understood that when I was setting it up. I still keep it off by itself, isolated to do its own thing. I knew what I was getting. No normal person is really thinking about that kind of stuff, especially when they're trying to just save money on cable. And the super box comes at you with a price that is so high, it's hard for an American not to take it seriously as a legitimate service.
Because it's high.
Yeah, because it's $200 to $300, and it comes at you with a fully glossy ad. Everything about it looks legitimate. It's got certifications on the box. They're able to push out ads for it on YouTube. Everything about it feels legitimate to a. If they're selling it for $30 a pop, you'd be like, what's the deal? What's the scam? At $200 a pop, you're like, well, it's kind of expensive, but if it does all that, then maybe it's worth it. And so I think that from this podcast, I got the impression they believe that high price, which flagged these people to why would you be like me? Why would you be paying that much for equipment like that? The only reason they looked at it is thought to be part of a mind manipulation of the American culture, where if it's that high, then it must be legitimate.
Must be good.
Must be good. So I encourage you guys to check out this podcast because it's a very interesting story. And apparently these boxes, they're still out there. They're still getting marketed. It's kind of like whack-a-mole right now.
Like the one you buy off Facebook.
Right. Like you can buy it off. Yeah, exactly. Facebook Marketplace is the place that yeah. And so they still exist out there. It's kind of like whack-a-mole. You take out one and others appear. Chester, go ahead.
Well, I fell for it when we were talking about it. I guess that was about a year ago, close to it. And I had bought mine through Amazon.
Oh,
and
boy.
I bought it because a relative had one and could watch all the football games. And I bought one, hooked it up, but I found that I didn't like it because there's no menu and you couldn't record. So I just never really used it, but I did read somewhere recently where there was a lot of malware going on through that box. And so I have unplugged mine and have no intention of using it and consider it just a waste of money.
Well, I'm sorry you had that experience, Chester. I didn't go as deep as this podcast goes, but if you want some details of what the concern is, check out the podcast because, and you know,
You can fix it.
Can you? Did you look it up? Is there a fix?
You reflash it. Another operating system in it.
Well, there's a number of these devices that you can't put another operating system in it. It has what it comes with, and it's locked to that. They even have their own app stores, so to keep you into the same software. So at the very least, these boxes can be used to track activities. At the very worst, they can be gathered as one supercomputer to do botnet activities. Hello, Richard. Welcome.
Buenos dias.
You missed my recommendation for Darknet Diaries' latest interview about the Superbox that we had talked about months ago and how it's actually infiltrated the United States and became a huge botnet simply because people bought them. If you, Richard, I don't think I send you out this document, do I? Copy. I'm going to drop the link to the document in our chat in case somebody wants to open it up. But there you'll find a link to that podcast, which I recommend. I'm going to start listening to more Darknet Diaries again because all the other news is just depressing. So a good botnet, it's a lot of fun.
So so I still have to.
And let's see, we're going down topics, troubleshooting, advice. Wait, we're gonna get you. We're gonna get you. We will.
Proceed.
Okay, Christine, go ahead. Go ahead. What is your question? What have
Is
you got?
there an advantage to having a dedicated VPN IP address?
Well, if you're a corporation, there is definitely.
Because NordVPNs, suggested, but I don't know if it's worth it.
Well, I'd almost think that it would work against you to have a static IP address. Chester's got his hand up. Did you have something to add to this, Chester?
No, I had a new subject.
Oh, okay. Well, hold on. We'll do you next. So I'm just trying to suss this out in my mind. The reason for a static IP address is so that you can be found on the internet from outside your network.
Well, that's
Okay.
counterintuitive.
Well, no, if you are running things inside your home network that you want access to outside without having to pay third-party services, then having an IP address that would recognize you would benefit you. And having one through your VPN provider, a static IP, means you could have a secure tunnel from their services to your home that you would run through to have access to outside. Home services could be as simple as like your home security system and your cameras and things of that nature. And right now, what is very popular is to use the cloud for those things. And so right at this moment, if you're using the cloud to do that stuff, you definitely don't need a static IP address, because those cloud services have provided you with a way to be found. They connect up out there, they announce that they're being used at your house, and then you go to those places to find out where your house is. They know where your house is, you don't know where your house is. And you go to them and they tell you where your house is because their equipment told them where your house is, if you follow what I mean.
Yeah.
And you pay monthly for that kind of security discretion.
I'm just laughing because at some point some people can't find their house in real time. So the other question I have is,
Well, I mean, I don't know how to answer your question specifically, but I would bet that you don't have any reason for an IP address like that, like I'm describing.
I'm not an influencer.
Well, that's, I mean, like if you're putting together your own home security system and you didn't want to pay a third party, you wanted to do it all yourself. You had a DVR in the garage and you wanted to check that from outside and you wanted to do it securely, then that might make sense. If you're a small office connected to a large office and you had a VPN running all the time, that would just make it easier to be found by the large office so that they can keep that connection up all the time. But as far as us individually, it almost seems like a security risk, because when you have a static IP address, then that's a guaranteed way to find you.
Once it's found.
Yeah, it's right there. As soon as it's known, it's never changing. So when you've got a tunnel going in your home office, it can always be addressed through that IP address. So it almost seems like it's more. I mean, it's less secure for us as individuals. Unless somebody else has another opinion on this. I see Fred's got his hand up too. If we're talking about the static IP for a VPN.
I've got it.
You've got the static IP for a VPN. Now, what would you argue that's a good thing to have as a consumer product?
Well, some of the banks I work with and stuff won't let me come in on a VPN. I have to go off of that. But now that I have my own IP, it doesn't register with the VPN, and I can go.
Are you doing it through Nord or ExpressVPN?
Nord.
And so since you switched to a static IP, you don't have a problem doing banking. But before, with the variable IP, they were having problems with it.
Yes, I couldn't connect with the VPN to my bank. I had to take the VPN off, which made no sense. But now I can do it.
Interesting. So it sounds like your bank didn't want to support VPNs.
Well, what it is, I think they register the IPs for the different VPNs. And if you're on one of those VPNs, they reject it.
And you're saying that you were able to approach your bank without a VPN, and the reason you're using a VPN is for the security of not doing that locally.
That's correct.
Yeah, I thought I understood that correctly. Okay, so that's
Well,
very interesting, Fred. I haven't had any problems with reaching my bank, but I imagine that could be a problem.
I travel enough that I'd just soon not present everything that I own.
Right. Well, how's that?
Okay.
Now you don't have an answer, and you have too much information from both sides that you can't make a decision.
I'm not going to change it. I made a decision. But the other thing regarding VPNs, I read that Microsoft has a built-in VPN.
That's kind of vague.
Firefox does now.
No, if you go down the little corner there and you type in VPN, you can add one, and supposedly through Microsoft. Anyway.
You're talking about for the Edge browser?
No, it's in under the Microsoft settings.
Oh, so yeah, they support VPNs. Are they actually getting? Wow, that'd be interesting to be consumer facing and allow you to buy service. Setting up a secure VPN connection. Are they really? Oh man. Add or change VPN. Well, I'm just like I'm expecting to get showered with ads for VPNs, and I don't see that, which is respectable because of the way Microsoft has been treating us. I expect when it went to open a web page, all I expected to see was a selection of VPN providers that I could buy from. But it looks more like where I'm being directed to is Microsoft support help. Setting up a VPN, getting help setting up a secure VPN connect. Okay, so all I was concerned about was, is it actually advertising a VPN to us? It's not even advertising its own VPN to us. So I would suspect what you've seen, especially in settings, is how to support a VPN, but not necessarily that there is one to be connected to, if that makes sense. Okay, Chester, did we get to? Yeah. Chester, what did you want to add? What was your topic?
I have 3 subjects.
All right. Let's do the middle one first. No, I'm kidding.
Okay, the first subject is, you recall that maybe a month ago, I was discussing a fraudster that got into my sister's PayPal account.
Oh, yeah.
And I was in a hurry and didn't make a phone call to my sister, and PayPal settled the dispute in favor of the fraudster. Well, the fraud person came back again this week using the same account, trying to get me to put up more money.
Oh, wow.
And of course, I ignored it. But the point I want to make is, be very, very careful of whatever you do with PayPal.
And Chester, I have forgotten. Did you report this to the police?
No, I did not.
Because there is, I know that we went through this in Anchorage, and there is a division that deals with these kinds of frauds. Well, and they deal with, at least in Alaska, they specifically dealt with these kinds of frauds with elderly people. And yeah, since this is a persistent thing happening to you, I think it's a good opportunity to get law enforcement involved. They might be interested in the email requests that you're getting.
Well, which law enforcement should I I'm in Arizona. My sister is in Texas, and
You know
who
what?
knows where PayPal is.
Just we've talked just a little bit in the club about the experiences my father had. Why don't you give me a chance to talk to him, and we'll make sure you get that information because he dealt with it in Arizona as well.
Okay, good.
Yeah,
The second point I wanted to make is
Yeah.
that I keep getting notices on my phone, my iPhone, that my iCloud is full, and if I don't do something quick, they're going to erase everything. My conclusion is, and I don't know if that is correct, my conclusion is I don't give a damn. I don't want their iCloud, and I don't care if they erase everything I have on iCloud. I just wonder if I'm
I'm
shooting
just
myself.
curious why you're getting this message now. Are you still providing phone services for some of your grandkids?
Yes, and this has nothing to do with Verizon, which is where I have my accounts.
Oh, really?
It's iCloud and it's iPhone.
Well,
It's
yeah, but where are you getting these messages?
on my phone.
So on your phone, you can go into your settings and you can look at what your storage plan is. Let's just see what's going on. If you go into settings and tap your name at the top,
Mm-hmm.
and then it'll bring up a list. It'll be your name and email, and down below in the second group is iCloud, and it should tell you how much storage you have.
Well, let's say I have none. So what?
Well, I hear you, Chester. I'm just trying to figure out why now you're getting this message.
Chester,
No, I've been getting the message for some time.
Chester,
They keep threatening to erase everything, but they never do.
Well,
Chester, you can just shut down iCloud.
wait,
You don't have
back
to
up.
back
I'm
up
trying to
to iCloud.
determine whether it's fraud or not. I mean, we can do that very easily just by looking at his storage.
No, I don't think this is fraud. I don't
Okay.
think iCloud is the fraud I'm talking about.
All right. It's very easy to determine whether this is legitimate or not just by looking at your storage.
Okay, I'll do that.
Yeah.
The third item is I am reading a lot, and I'm also, particularly on YouTube, concerning spam phone calls, and I get up to 30 a day, and they all come from one area code. And I thought that for a while, if I would answer them and just not say yes and not say hello, that they would get the message and go away. But I'm reading where you don't do that because it's a machine that's doing it, not individuals.
Yeah, it is. And every time you pick up, you legitimize to them your number.
Yeah, you legitimize your existence.
That's right.
So what I've been doing in the last week is I'm just not answering at all, and let them maybe go to voicemail. I don't know, but I don't want to set it so that only my contact list rings through. I don't want to do that because I do get sometimes some important calls. So I did that for a while now. I don't want to continue doing that. So what I'm doing now is just letting them ring through and hang up. They hang up, not me.
Okay. If you want to, there was before, and I don't know if these are the same instructions as before, a way to block a particular area code on your iPhone.
Yeah, but I have family in the same area code.
No, well, that makes it harder then. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, then I've been a firm believer for a long time that you should just block all calls that are not in your contact list. You should get that family, your family members, all in your contact list so that you can block the area code. Or block all calls except for who's in your contact list. It's the best solution,
it's
Chester.
Important enough to leave a message.
Well, I tried that for a while, and there are calls that I missed that I should have received. for example, like brokerage accounts or a bank or different people
I'm
that I
telling you,
don't.
Chester, you can live that life of every call's blocked except for the ones you've got in your contact list. If you've got voicemail in text messaging, you can deal with calls being blocked. It's not a
TJ's
problem.
laughing.
It's just you gotta make that commitment. But you are
Yeah.
much more secure by making that commitment.
Okay. Thank you. And I'll check my iCloud now to see what the situation is there. I'll see
Yeah.
if I can turn it off.
Because you should be able to. And if you're not using it, it'll show you how far over you are, and it might become clear that it's being used. Maybe pictures accidentally got turned on, and so it's dumping a bunch of pictures into that free space that you have.
Could be, but I don't, with this camera, I don't take pictures anymore.
Yeah, well, and iCloud has infiltrated most of our devices. In fact, I've been using it on Windows 11 most recently because I've been doing this consolidation of all my backups. And I figured, well, I've got all this iCloud space I can use, so I'll just throw it all up there for right now.
Nick got an email that said his iCloud space was running out and to buy some more. I said, no, wait.
Yeah.
Who's it from? And then later I went in, he had like 2% used.
Right. And well, that's exactly what's going through my mind as Chester's talking about. It's like, let's verify your storage before we take this seriously. Because there's too many of these things floating around right now trying to fish money out of you. TJ, welcome. TJ has snuck in the back door as we've been here talking about this.
TJ, did you have a comment about blocking? You're making all kinds of faces over there.
What
No? Okay.
do you have an opinion on blocking calls? Right.
No.
Well, offensive blocking unsolicited calls.
Okay.
Okay.
I didn't think you had a problem. I thought you had a comment.
No, but I'm just thinking as myself. I don't get.
Can I come back?
Unsolicited calls.
I don't get unsolicited phone calls on my web-based number on my cell phone.
Yeah.
I get occasional and cyclical erratic in reference to my phone number and it's the same business, but it's sell me and it warranties.
Oh, yeah, legitimate stuff.
I don't get many. Nick gets some.
Real legitimate stuff.
But other than that, and I guess part of it, when I talk to a phone solicitor, I say, "Why are you calling me? I don't even have a phone."
This isn't the phone we're talking on now. Okay, Chester, your hand's back up. Oh, wait. No comment?
Let me come back shortly. I just ran into something else.
Okay. So I stuck on my data hoarding experience that's going on right now. I have a number of 1 terabyte, 2 terabyte, 4 terabyte external drives. And I fortunately have purchased a bunch of cloud space, and I've been trying to consolidate everything, trying to pull out. What I discovered is I had a bunch of backups that were complete backups for Windows, for computers I don't even own anymore. And so I was able to get into the backup, which is actually kind of cool. In Windows 11, I haven't done this in 10. I imagine it may work in 10, but in Windows 11, I'm able to see the Windows backup, like the system image backup of the hard drive. I'm able to double click on it. It goes, hey, that's a Windows backup. And I'm like, when did Windows get so smart? It knows it's a backup. And then it offers to restore files. I'm like, okay, sure. And then it offers to let me into the backup and traverse through the files, looking for the particular folders or files I want to restore, which is awesome because anybody that's used Windows for the last 40 years like I have, cannot claim that experience. They can claim they were going to try and have that experience, but it never worked before. It was always a pain in the ass to make it work. It was always balance this with this, set permissions over here, plug this in, light a candle, sacrifice a goat. And this just worked. This worked like it was one of the features of Windows. I couldn't believe it. I was able to get right in. And of course, it's a backup from a computer that just doesn't even exist in my life anymore. And I was able to extract just the documents and just the photos. And I turned like a 60 gigabyte backup into a 6 gigabyte backup and was able to reclaim 10 times the space. So I've been doing that for a while now. And then I've also been testing these drives to see what kind of life they're going to have before I put them in use somewhere else. If anybody finds themselves, I have always called myself a data hoarder. I'm really bad at this kind of stuff. I've told Richard a number of times, normally when I run out of space, I go out and buy something twice as big. I move everything over to it. Yeah, I just keep going forward. That's my backup. So this has turned into quite a project for me. Another project that I'm working on has been looking into Linux distributions that would make an appropriate switch for Windows users. There's just so much animosity right now towards Windows. Windows' performance level is so low, and there's so much opportunity to be more secure and not be advertised to and not be tracked by. In the Linux community, I think we're going to see this year is going to be a real wave of people switching operating systems. If anything, just because they've still got an old computer in the corner that gets used, and Windows 10 won't be supported any longer. So if anybody is interested in this kind of stuff, I have been playing around with 4 different versions right now. I am working with Zorin, Pop OS, Catchy OS, and Linux Mint. Damn it. Linux Mint. I might need a Mint. What is amazing about all these, I'm putting them on an HP laptop. Laptops notoriously have had problems in the past with specific drivers when it comes to Linux. Many times in the past, and when I say in the past, I'm talking 5-10 years ago, you would have trouble finding like Wi-Fi drivers. If you'd made the switch to a laptop, you might have had to give up your Wi-Fi card and buy an external USB Wi-Fi for a Linux distribution. And that just does not seem to be the case, at least with my old HP, and I've also got it running on a ASUS laptop from a couple of years ago, from 2017, I guess. But I have to say that they are easy to use, and they run very quickly. You can stick them on a USB drive that's less than 8 gigabytes. You don't even have to give up your hard drive to try them out. And so far, out of the ones I've been playing with, if I was to recommend somebody to play with one right out of the box and be successful, probably the Zorin and Catchy, I've just felt like were the easiest switches from Windows. And I'm talking specifically coming from Windows. These 2 operating systems right out of the box just felt like you're still, it was like somebody skinned my Windows. It's like I found everything where I expected it to be. All the shortcut buttons worked the way I expected them to be. The presentation was the way I expected it to be. And so just that's with a couple of days playing with each one of these. I've got a laptop on my desk that I've got 4 different USB sticks next to, and I crank it up on one, and I spend an afternoon doing my stuff on that one, and I compare how I've been feeling about that experience. How much CPU gets used, how much memory is getting used to do the things that I normally do on that laptop. So off the cuff, if you were going to want to do a Linux and you're coming from Windows, that's what I'm saying right now. Is I've really appreciated the Catchy OS and the Zorin.
So as a neophyte, why would someone want to switch from Windows to a different operating system
Well,
for an everyday non-techie user?
no, right this moment is when people are considering this, and it's because of the behavior of Microsoft with the Windows 11 operating system. Also, that the Windows 10 operating system has only been extended in security updates through the grace of Microsoft because they didn't want to lose that market share. But what we're watching right now is a bit of a downward spiral in market shares for Windows, for Microsoft, and we're not quite sure how that's going to affect the future of of Windows.
So, what are the complaints that people are having in wanting to migrate away from?
Yeah, no, specifically at this moment, there are issues, the changes that Microsoft has done in their business structure. So they have injected advertising and service fees into their operating system at the expense of performance.
Okay.
I'm letting TJ grab his breakfast before I keep talking.
Also, how much money they're going to
That's
spend
it.
for
Okay.
computers.
Well, because they have their new operating system, I'm still calling Windows 11 the new operating system, because it has such a high hardware criteria, there is this upgrade cycle that should be happening that is delayed another year because people don't want to buy new hardware for this operating system. So many people in such abundance that Microsoft finally reneged and gave everybody an extra year of security updates for this operating system. But what they really did is they triggered this mass need for migration. And so there's a large number. Did you want to add something? I'm sorry, Jim.
Part of that is because if you upgrade to 11, you're going to have to upgrade again to 12 when it comes out, which is coming out the next year or so.
Well, I think they're going to be lucky to get to 12 with what's happening with 11 right now. I mean, they are really in a Windows Vista kind of moment. And the problem is before they had all the power, all they had to do is make people happy. Now they're not living in a moment with it where they have all the power. No matter what they do to try and make people happy, this may be inevitable because nobody wants this kind of stuff to happen again. It's the reason that governments across the world have chosen a sovereign operating system to switch to. You know, back in the 80s, nobody had a choice. All the software was written on top of DOS, on top of Windows, because Microsoft owned the market. And so if you had computers in your building, they were running Windows software because they were running Windows operating systems. All software, whether it was France, Germany, England, Philippines, all software was Windows-based software because that's what ran computers. And we're not living in that world anymore. And with the changes, and I'm sorry, I don't mean to be beating around the question.
No, I'm listening.
But I'm kind of circling in on these things that Microsoft has done that has made it very clear to organizations across the world they need to find a different solution. The biggest one was putting recall into Windows 11 and hyping it up as its biggest feature. And this is, you probably haven't experienced it. It's only got released on Copilot Plus PCs and business editions of Windows that had enough processing power to run it. But their goal, their plan for the future was this was going to be the killer app. And what it would do is it would take screenshots of your work. It was basically this little spy sitting behind your shoulder watching everything you're doing and writing it down.
Screenshots of
everything,
of my browsers, or screenshots of
what is on your screen,
whatever's on my screen.
Whatever's on your screen.
Okay.
And the idea, and they are trying to pitch it to businesses, is that they've got an AI that's going through the screenshots and taking notes, summarizing and making it available to you as a work tool. This has gone poorly since the moment that they announced it. They've pulled it, I think, twice, maybe 3 times now. They've pulled it from the product because of criticisms immediately after they were trying to get people into the product again. But what they've made clear, and before this as well, with their injected advertising and their nudges into subscription services is that you are being held hostage to what they're selling. And this is the latest direction they're going. And you don't have any options if you stick with the windowing operating system. We don't know what's going to happen with Windows. This is an amazing time. Every month they are losing market shares. It's never happened throughout the history of Windows. It's never happened like this. At one point before this became so controversial, and it has happened this year. This is a new controversy as of months, not like the first of the year is when people really started paying attention to these numbers. But in the past, you would have an adoption of it. You'd have an operating system like Windows 10, and it's the majority of Windows computers, unless somebody didn't want to get off 7 forever. And then slowly, the new operating system 11 would be upticking, and Windows 10 would be downticking. And through all these endeavors that have been going on to switch to an operating system that people have more control of, and I mean people, I mean corporations and governments, hospitals are all looking for a operating system that isn't connected to an organization like Microsoft or a country like the United States. When you're the government of the Philippines, you don't necessarily think it's a good idea to base your entire operation on a foreign country's operating system. It almost makes sense, actually. and so what has happened this year, Windows 11 had finally gotten above Windows 10, and now it's dropping again. And it's not because Windows 10 is picking up adoption. I do think there's a little bit of that. But it's because these organizations have worked out what their replacement is, and they're falling away from the Windows 11 experience they've been having.
Or are you saying this is more on the enterprise level or on the consumer level?
Both. Because Microsoft is enterprise, it will affect what's available in the consumer market. And that's kind of how we've ended up here, is they pursued.
My company has it, so it must be pretty good, so I'll use it.
Well, it's more like runoff. I like consumer facing is what they want. You're not wrong. Like I use it at home. I know how to. I use it at work. I know how to use it at home. But we really are just going through this mass kind of. I use muscle memory a lot, but it's like it's been around for 40 years or 40 years. We know how to run Windows. We expect Windows to be on these computers. And so there is no option. The only thing that's making us look for an option is the performance of the computers have gone down, which is the first time that's happened with Microsoft. They talk about economic forecasting. They're like, look at the signs. In software forecasting with Microsoft, we're looking at the signs, and like one of the signs is that they took such a hit from Windows Vista. Internally, they had a policy that no other operating system would require more hardware. And every release of Windows that came out, we talked about this last week, required less hardware to run at the same performance level. We went from needing 4 gigs to needing 2 gigs to needing 1 gig to run the operating system. Right? Our processors have always been single core processors. There's never been a requirement for a security chip. They've never had it until Windows 11. And so Windows 11 comes up, and the only reason you don't see it as a poorly performing computer is it probably showed up on a fairly modern computer. So you don't realize that all that headspace is being used just to crank on this operating system that's been put out basically to advertise to you or to track what you're doing. We've got somebody waiting to get. Oh, Sid's trying to get back in. Sorry, Sydney, I was off on a tangent and didn't see you trying to get in. But so Linux distributions are a real thing now, and they are real easy to test out on your equipment before you commit anything to them.
But do I need to be a techie in order to
truly utilize Linux or any of the other operating systems?
Yeah.
No,
Or can a
no,
67-year-old
no, you don't,
literate?
TJ.
He's saying no.
Yeah,
He's saying-
Richard's yelling, no, you don't.
It's just a
Self-proclaimed
fucking
not techie.
operating system, man. You're an adult.
Mhm.
You know how to do this stuff.
The only place that you would run into problems would be with that specialized software that was built only for a particular platform. And that's another reason that this is a ripe time for this to happen. In fact, this should happen just kind of as a protest to the way that we are being treated in the market, because Apple's not better. They don't let anybody else track you, but they track the shit out of you. They don't let anybody else do it. Microsoft sells you the ability to track. Google, that's their whole business, is selling their ability to track you to people. Their advertising is their whole business model. But so there isn't, you can't get there from one of these. You can't. The whole market is exactly the same.
But aren't most solutions that people use web-based anyway?
Exactly, they are.
So it really doesn't matter.
It does. Well, it matters on this aspect of freedom of control over your device and privacy of your information. And none of these platforms have been built with that in mind, except an operating system like Linux, because it comes out of the open source community. Who else is trying to get in here? I don't know. He's gone though. Hey, we are running out of minutes on this meeting. We got 8 minutes. I'm going to open up the other one so it's available to anybody whenever they get a chance. This is the 8-minute call on the meeting we're in. If you do get in there early, you might realize that you're in two different places. So, yes, this is a good time to be looking at this kind of change. The operating systems are very easy to use. The alternatives to software that you might have been using on Windows, in, like, for example, the Zorin operating system, it's already put in your face so that you can find those alternatives very easily.
And the support
Who is
for these
this?
operating systems is,
I'm sorry?
and the support for these operating systems is,
What? YouTube.
I'm sorry,
YouTube.
YouTube.
Yeah, very much.
So my support
Your support is the community.
is the community.
Yeah, well, who's just like right on it, compared to trying to make a call to Microsoft.
And according to the news last week, Windows 11 uses less memory than
Ubuntu is using more. Yeah,
more memory now.
it's
11 does. Back to the subject where you were saying Microsoft was cutting the how much power they use.
right out of the Linux distribution. Like Zorin, I was telling Richard
So that's a good thing.
the other day. No, it's not. Well, it's not good that Ubuntu's taking more memory than Windows 11.
It's a good thing that that Windows is taking less memory now.
They're trying,
Is that a good thing?
maybe.
Well, I mean,
In other
What-
words, they're
what-
responding to the marketplace?
what has happened? The reason this is because Ubuntu is a dialed down operating system. It's supposed to be able to run, and there is a version that still runs on lightweight hardware.
Oh, yeah.
But what they're talking about is these robust features that they've included in Ubuntu, which visually, a lot of visual stuff, would surpass the Windows experience if that's what you're into. Requires more memory than if you're just running Windows 11. And that's big news right now this week, because it's just funny. It's funny that this operating system that's been homegrown from people from all over the internet, organized under the Ubuntu organization, has grown to this monster that would require so much memory. But that's the reason it's news right now. It's neither good nor bad, but it's ironic.
Yeah,
Or
but Scott,
Yeah.
I just posted into your chat window. Linux Mint 2003 requires at least 1 gig of RAM and 15 gigs of hard disk space.
Right. That's 4 releases ago, though, right?
Optimal performance, you should have 2 gigs of RAM and 20 gigs of hard disk space.
See, those were the kind of specs that Windows 10 had, but not Windows 11. I mean, that was one of the beauties of each preceding version of Windows until Windows 11. And to address TJ's point, these are the reasons that right now is a great time to be thinking about this. It's a bunch of things that are happening that don't need to be happening to us, which would have been happening to us, say, 20 years ago without us having any alternatives. And now we totally have alternatives. This is the problem that Microsoft's going to run into with these corporate and government contracts. They've created an environment where they were able to sell their cloud services to these organizations and government entities because they already had Windows computers on the desks. And so it was just like flipping a switch. You add this to your budget, we're taking care of you. They're able to take the servers out of people's office. I was there. I lost those jobs. That was heartbreak for me because I used to go into the corner of people's offices and work on their servers. And Microsoft said, no, we'll just sell them servers in the cloud.
So they broke your rifle.
That's right. They took it away from me.
And you're still using them.
Well, I never had a choice, right? Are you like what?
Yeah, you did.
Yeah. Well, honestly, not if I want to support my customers. And that's the reason that the Linux distributions that I'm looking at right now are the ones that I think are the easiest for Windows users to adopt too. Because I'm not interested in highly technical, specific use Linux. I'm interested in desktop, general purpose. You just got off a Windows computer and you can't tell the difference from this Linux computer. I'm looking for those kinds of experiences for my customer base. Where are we going with all this? Are we going over to the other meeting? We've got 2 minutes until the other meeting. Richard, did you have any other comments on this before we move on, or if there's any other things that we should be talking about?
Well, I mean, I just think, you can set this up as dual boot. I mean, try it.
Oh, hey, you will love my last Linux experience story because he's totally anti-Windows. Is after I got done with this laptop, I already told you guys, after I got done with this laptop, I wanted to jump into Windows 10 to do something. And I started up and it doesn't know my PIN. And all of a sudden I have to re-authenticate myself to my computer. Right? I have to go online, talk to Microsoft, get them to verify who I am before I can turn my computer on that's sitting in front of me.
That's the definition of a bullshit computing experience.
Right? That's exactly what I was thinking as it happens. Like, no matter what I changed, I shouldn't be locked into needing an internet connection to open up my computer when I know the password to my computer and use the local thing that I was going to use on it. I mean, quite literally, it was one of those experiences where, no, it's not in a web browser. It only runs on Windows. I have it installed on this computer. Doesn't need internet. I know my password's computer. But because our meeting just died. I went out on a rant.
You got too much free time on your hand to be upset about that stuff.
What do you mean? All I do is computer stuff. I'm the one that's supposed to be upset about this stuff. I'm the one that should be pointing it out to you how it could be better. I'm the tech evangelist. Hello, Sydney. We are waiting for the others to join us, if they will, if they want to hear me yell some more.
while we're still ramping up.
She taught me to
Think
quit
about
time
folks in
this.
Saipan and Tinian.
Say that again, TJ.
You want to think of, pray about the folks in Saipan and Tinian. They just got hit with a Category 4, bordering Category 5 typhoon.
Oh wow.
Winds last night, talking to my friend who's working in Tinian, winds were in excess of 150. Sustained
Wow.
winds, gusts close to 200. And it's just making landfall right now.
Oh, that's scary.
Tinian, I don't know if you're aware, is the island that the Enola Gay flew off of. Took off, the Enola Gay, the B-52 bomber that dropped the
Oh yeah, okay.
dropped the bomb.
I've spent many days on Tinian.
And the Navy and the Air Force are rebuilding the landing strip, going from 8,000 feet to 12,000 feet, so they can accommodate the super heavies, the Galaxies, and so forth coming in, T6s. And one of my very good friends that I worked with over in Iraq, he's working over there right now. So he texted, the last time I heard from him was about 7 o'clock last night.
They're about to get hit with a Category 4, Category 5 typhoon. Did you guys hear TJ okay over there? He's got a microphone. I was just hoping it was coming through okay. Okay, they've calmed me down. I'm not gonna rant anymore.
He brought you off the ledge.
Talked me off the ledge.
There you go.
Can I send you a picture, Scott?
I just finished with
You can try.
I just finished with a webinar for folks over at the CVTA, which is Commercial Vehicle Training Association. And so it's a group of folks that are involved with truck driving schools throughout the entire country. And the webinar was about the use of AI in truck driving schools.
That's interesting.
And it was comical because everyone is trying to be their own programmers.
Right.
And come up with their own solutions. And I'm going to use AI for here. And it's like, it's as though folks never learned anything from Steve Jobs in reference to allow the developers to develop the solutions for you rather than you try to write something. And remember when the old days are trying to write code in DOS and all that crap. And I think that people are trying to get caught up in this AI stuff and trying to develop their own solutions when there's folks that spend an entire lifetime doing that for a living. But because it's free, or relatively free, I can save money. And they're stepping over dollars to go pick up pennies.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts?
Yeah. No, I mean, I agree that it's opened up opportunities for me that I didn't have before. I've worked on projects that I've always pushed on the back burner because I never wanted to dedicate that much time to them. And for me, when I get into working with code with an AI, I feel like it's like working with an engineer. It's you're bouncing ideas back and forth and trying things. And most recently, there's very little code review because it's like, make it do this and it doesn't do it. And you say, hey, it didn't do that. It did this. And it goes, oh, okay, well, now try it. And it's just this constant, now try it. No, now try it. Yeah, that was good, but this is wrong. Now try it. And I think that's really what this is opening up is, TJ, you could code something for you, which is fine. I mean, this goes along with the way you're feeling. That is fine. It's fine for me to write a little note-taking app for myself that does all the very specific things that I've always wanted. That's totally fine. Distribute that across 100 computers and rely on that to do business. That's not fine. And so somewhere in that we are able to build tools quicker, faster, and more personal. And what are we distributing? What do we rely on? What's the security there? What's the data risk there? There has to be a professional making those decisions. And so I think it's changing the way we write code, but it doesn't relinquish the responsibility of the people that are typically the ones making those decisions. We don't have AI's not making the right decisions. They've got
And
the
the
right.
other aspect is that people are now focused on this AI solution instead of actually running their businesses.
Right.
So
Yeah. It's kind of like
allow-
being the boss and you get caught up with the new graphic on the product box.
Yeah, allow the AI professionals and you know, the brain surgeons of AI, allow them
The rocket scientists of AI, if there is such a
allow
thing.
them to become your bespoke AI development rather than me becoming my own AI development. Because if I'm the smartest person in the room,
Well, I
We got a
really
problem.
think what's going to happen is that we're going to reach a point. I think personal AI is going to be a thing. I think that's the thing that's going to that's the for the consumer market. That's what we're going to see. Is we're going to see. We already have equipment out right now that you can run your own models, and those models will get to know you and help you take care of your own personal stuff. As far as coding, I think coding is one of the very first things that has really popped. And we went from, well, it kind of works to, wow, this works way too well. And we did that in less than a year. Adios, Jim.
did I chase you away?
Sorry?
Did
No.
I chase you away?
No.
Okay.
No, I usually leave at 11.
Okay.
So I stayed longer.
Pay you more, will you stay?
No, I have things to do.
Places to go here in San Carlos?
I didn't say places to go. I said things to do.
All that background I was just saying is just to get to the point that I think it's a screwdriver. In the end, I think it's a screwdriver. Yeah. And you're going to pick up that screwdriver, and there's going to be a set of things that you're very comfortable using that screwdriver for. And I'm going to have a set of things that I'm comfortable using that screwdriver for. And the only difference is the screwdriver is the widget, whatever your imagination can come up with.
It is a tool. It is not the solution.
Yeah, that's probably a good way to think about it. I mean, when we talk about arms in the United States, there's always the analogy of the hammer, and so you can beat somebody in the head with it, or you can build a house with it. And I think AI is very much that same kind of tool.
How do we know, in reference to content, you and I have used AI enough where we can automatically detect when someone has utilized ChatGPT in content and simply copied and pasted?
Yeah. I don't know if I'm ready to say that I am well versed enough to always catch it, but when you
the M dash. Can you tell me where an M dash is on your keyboard?
An M dash.
That's that long dash.
Oh, extended dash. Yeah. Okay.
That long hyphen. You don't have one on your keyboard.
You've got two that turn into one, but I mean, when you hit hyphen twice, it turns into an M dash.
There's still a space.
What's that?
There's still a space between.
Well, if you're using Word, it turns into a long line.
So
I think Google Docs does it too.
It's very easy to identify, or it's not formatted, or it has inserted emoticons into their response and into their content.
Well, the problem isn't that they're like right now. It's kind of a joke because we can detect that they've been.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
been generated. It's kind of like the images. When you see an AI image, it's very obvious. It's all been schooled on the same imagery, and so it's all got this glossy kind of surreal look that's not real. The writing right now is like that as well, but I expect that to change.
Yeah, it's become it. Well, what has happened is, and my associates and I, it has, for the posers who pace themselves and present themselves as pundits and experts, they're utilizing AI as the answer, ChatGPT as an example, and they're simply asking it a question and then copying and pasting it into a discussion or into a document to show just how smart they are. And the real folks that truly get it identify that within seconds and say they're a poser. They don't know what they're talking about. And they're becoming very quickly, for the unsavvy consumer or the unsavvy business person or the startup that this person must know what they're talking about. It sounds great. When in reality, all that it was the accumulated garbage that's been collected over the years, the collective intelligence, instead of someone truly thinking outside the box and coming up with a really brilliant idea.
Yeah, it is all. I mean, every time I hear, it sounds like we're talking about vaporware. I mean, when you go back to the 80s, and Bill Gates was just a genius, Steve Jobs as well, was just a genius at selling something that did not exist. And I feel like Sam Altman's the latest version of that. He is just a great salesman. He's great at producing this idea that should give it value. Just the idea itself should give it value. The what will
$25 a month? I will tell you.
Well, and I was listening to
administrative assistant and business advisor.
I was listening to some tech pundits this morning that were battling this back and forth, and one of them was saying, "Look, I've reached the point. I'm paying $20 a month. I'm about to bump my subscription to $200 a month because I've been able to derive that much value from what it's giving me." And so I'm going to do that. Would I go to 2,000? No, not yet, but maybe at some point if it's doing that much value for me. And so we're it feels like we're done with the beginning stages of this. We're starting to enter into the middle stages of what this is. The most frustrating thing is how it's all being used for this rape of the financial markets. This crazy artificial inflation, the speculative value every time somebody says something out loud. It's unfortunate that comes along with it. I know from Richard and I talk about this all the time, going back and forth, and it is a bubble. This is going to pop, and it's interesting what's going to happen financially, but I don't think it's going to have much effect on the technology as we go forward. The tech will continue to exist and persist and get better and matter to those functions and people that it matters to, and still be of no concern to everybody else.
Yeah, but Scott, the lights are going to go out when the money gets cut off. It's not going to. I mean, yeah, I'm not saying that the technology itself will disappear entirely, but free use going to disappear.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I can see.
Okay, so let's just start with the basic idea that you're going to have to pay to play. Well, that knocks out the vast majority of the users.
Or it turns into a home, a homegrown network of people that are doing LLMs in their house on. I mean, it turns into a whole do-it-yourself culture because they don't want to pay.
Could be. But this, I'm going to go and use an AI for free as much as I want bullshit is coming to an end very soon because the money's run out.
Sure. But if you're a developer, like a professional developer, like TJ's talking about, this might be the time you're paying $200 a month to have access to that AI to help you write code.
Doesn't cover it. They lose money on the $200 plan. Go back to your 2000.
Well, yeah, but you can't use OpenAI as the main model because they're running roughshod over everyone, expecting the government to.
There are only two models. There's OpenAI and there's Anthropic.
No, there's Google and there's Microsoft too. They have the staying power. They have the money. Google especially, their whole business is a completely different thing. They could sit this out. They could just keep doing AI for free, AI for free, AI for free, and just keep eating everyone else's lunch until they're the only show in town.
Possibly, if they're prepared to have a continuous money-losing thing, sure.
Well,
they have the money.
Yeah, they've got the money. They've got dumb money. They can make bad decisions for a long time with the kind of money they have. They don't have to be motivated by profit. They could be motivated by just being the ones that last out everyone else. And what is it? Apple just did a deal with Google. They agreed to use Gemini instead of doing their own AI, which I bet Apple was thrilled not to have to do their own AI.
Absolutely, man. Best to write a check.
Well, the beauty of it was that they were getting paid, what was it, like $1 billion a year to keep search? So they just gave that money back. That's what the contract was for. So yeah, you do AI for us and we'll keep your search on our devices. I think OpenAI, Anthropic, those two organizations. Well, Anthropic makes money. OpenAI doesn't even make money.
Anthropic does not make money.
They've got contracts with the government. They're up until recently, at least.
No, they don't make money. It doesn't cover cost of production. This is the whole point.
Well,
AI does not. Nobody's fees.
You are making my point for me, though. They are the two that are the most vulnerable out of these, because the others don't rely on it as a business.
No, the other. Well, when you say the others, if you're talking about Gemini, that's a specific use case, and Copilot. Those two.
Right.
But everybody else in the industry is built on top of Anthropic and OpenAI's models. So when those guys goes down, all of their customers go down.
Well, what you're describing is a bank that's too big to fail.
No.
Yeah.
I'm describing a bank that when it fails, it's not too big to fail. And that when it fails, it's going to take down all the other people who were its customers.
Yeah, I think we'll see. We'll see. I suspect the tech will be standing, and it'll be a question of who's in charge next. Well, everyone's left me but TJ. We've come to 1 hour and 15 in this meeting, and I don't think I got to any of my news articles this week. We are talking about AI. Why don't we take a few moments at the end here and talk a bit about Anthropic's Mythos? Does anybody have any thoughts?
I'm still with you.
All right, Fred. Have you heard of this release of Mythos, the AI that's supposed to be the security guru? The security AI that was able to burrow its way through and find exploits in operating systems that have been years hidden. Have you been following this news? Anybody out there? Richard, you been following?
No,
a little bit.
This article that I brought along, it talks about. This is CBS News, so take it with a grain of salt. It's going to be a bit of a puff piece, but it goes into the what this AI particular is, and Richard would probably enjoy this because there is a bit of, is this just marketing? Because what they've come out to say is this is so powerful. Where is that coming from? Is that me? Oh no, oh, it's gone now. Whatever that was. Where was I? Anthropic, Mythos, AI, the most powerful cyber consultant ever. Anthropic has said that this is the press release, and it is so dangerous to the security of our networks and computers that they will not release this AI model. I'm glad you see the humor in it as I do too. They will, however, release it to the 40 top vulnerable corporations out there. Things like Microsoft, Amazon, Apple. They are.
I wonder how they came up with 40 as a marketing number. I mean, why not 50, 52, 37?
That's why I like talking with you. I didn't even give the number 40 any thought.
It's the Phoenix 40. Remember?
Okay. I don't know, but basically what they're doing is they're giving them a.
I mean, how do you feel if you're at the 41st you're
let's
the
move
41st
on, okay? But I mean, essentially, they're claiming that it found. Well, I mean, it's not a claim; it's been verified that this AI found security vulnerabilities in FreeBSD, which is the operating system, the Unix operating system that the Mac operating system is based on, and a number of other forks are based on. And they say this vulnerability has been sitting around over 10 years, just sitting there in the code. Open source did not make it any more secure. Of course, the flip side of that is nobody found it except for the AI. So has it been used, or nobody's reported it except for the AI? Does that mean that it's been in use? So their claim is that this is a very dangerous AI for just anyone to use, and they're going to make it only available so these guys can get ahead of these securities, because they're flagging hundreds and hundreds of security vulnerabilities that haven't been flagged before in things that are well established.
Well, and we'll find out also if these are real security vulnerabilities, since hallucinations are a characteristic of AI. I mean, that'll be interesting too, now won't it?
Well, and what they're preaching at the same time is using AI as a defensive mechanism against security vulnerabilities. So here you got, on one end, you've got.
So I want to have a non-deterministic system have access to all of my security settings and configurations.
Essentially, yeah, that's
okay.
That's the idea. The idea is that you've got an AI on one side. Oh, and if I didn't make it clear, what is so impressive about this AI, according to Anthropic, is that it was able to chain together exploits. It was able to find vulnerabilities that people had not found, and then manipulate them in a way to exploit the system, chaining them together one after another to get the elevated permissions that it needed. So that is very impressive. That's something that up until recently we would only attribute to a software engineer to be able to make those kinds of those kinds of jumps in logic.
Right.
So I mean, as long as what they're reporting is factual, then there is some concern. At the same time, the way they're reporting it is like, please buy our shit. Please buy our shit. It is so dangerous.
It's so smart, it's dangerous.
What is beautiful about this, and this is, I thank you, Richard, because that is absolutely why I wanted to bring this up. But it complements also where we are, because it is an Anthropic property, that the Department of Defense cannot use it anymore. It cannot be used. It's considered a supply risk, a supply chain risk. So all of a sudden, all the security of the government might be in question because they can't use the smartest AI to see if there are any security vulnerabilities in the systems that exist at the moment. Interesting, just happening at the same time, right? Just out of coincidence, they did release this thing the Department of Defense would probably love to have access to for our own sake, for all of us to be more secure. But they can't do it because they took away their privilege. I don't know. I think it makes a good story.
I think it's an open question, though, whether the DoD wants to screw around with this. I'm sure there are people in the DoD who don't want AI anything touching anything.
Right. But if what you're talking about is rooting out security vulnerabilities in code that's existed for a long time, the FreeBSD thing is a real eye-opener, I would think. I would think you'd feel that way too, being so into open source. That the whole philosophy behind open source should have rooted that problem out. We shouldn't find something that can be compromised 10 years later.
Oh, I don't know. Stuff happens, man. You know, I understand in an ideal world that's what open source is supposed to be about. But I mean, people find vulnerabilities that are very old. You know, it happens.
Yeah, people do over time. This didn't.
Yeah.
This did it in hours. Right? Like 10 years should be enough time to find a vulnerability.
A padlock is only keeps honest people out. Correct?
Yeah. Yeah. No, I just foresee that we're going to be using tools like this. Absolutely. Absolutely. And this seems like a good use of those tools. Of course, properly sandboxed. And I mean, you can send the AI after an operating system that's completely air gapped, can you? I mean, if you made the investment in, that's what you're doing, is you're testing these.
Well, I don't know. That's an interesting question, because wouldn't you have to move the actual hardware that's running the AI? I mean, how are you going to get?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think that if you, I'm thinking specifically from like a government department point of view, we are going to use this to test our security. And so we do get on-site AI right there. The hardware to drive it. And then we set it on all the government sanctioned software in ideally an air gapped environment. So it's not actually in use, but you're finding the vulnerabilities of.
Well, okay, but then you're talking about building an AI data center purely for government use, which not that couldn't be done.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a long project.
In fact, you could imagine, just like the government does so many things, that what you just proposed, an AI data center for sleuthing on software, I think that's essentially what we were coming at right there, would be a private business that you could hire, but the government wouldn't do that because they couldn't be vetted, and so they would make the government version of the private business so that they can snoop on their own code, their own systems, without involving an exterior. Well, I say that too quickly.
I can imagine that.
Yeah, I might be saying that too quickly, because they just did write off one of their AI groups. So, hey, and they sent men to the moon just recently. I mean, they didn't stand on it, but they went around the moon, and that was not Starlink, SpaceX. That wasn't a private corporation. That was NASA that did that. So, and what failed? Outlook.
A toilet.
And Outlook. Microsoft Outlook. And a toilet.
Same thing.
Yeah. Oh, it's the same thing.
Same thing.
Yeah.
I was going to say, those are nicely paired.
Nicely paired.
Outlook and the toilet, same thing. That's why I use that.
I think he's right. There's only actually one failure. Just had two expressions.
I'm curious, how many folks use an email client server other than Outlook?
You mean that office environment where you're using an email client off of like a corporate server?
An email client, right? How many people on their computers are using an email client versus a web browser?
Yeah, not many, I would imagine, in this day and age. There's the interview they used to go through, and it would set it up for you automatically, and then you'd end up with like your email account in Microsoft Mail, but hardly people would even use that.
So I use Thunderbird.
Yeah, nobody does that.
Gives me the ability to have multiple emails on a single screen.
Sure, yeah.
With multiple screen computers.
Well, and I think it's probably happens more often with Macintosh computers. They've got a great mail program that lets you consolidate everything into one inbox, and
And for my phone, I use Blue Mail,
Blue Mail.
which is very similar to Thunderbird.
No, I'm not familiar with Blue Mail.
So that it allows me to have all of my business email address and I can capture all of them or just go to a single email.
So are you on an iPhone or an Android?
Droid.
Okay. Because I would say, like, why wouldn't you use just the mail program? And because the mail program on the iPhone will do that. I've got all my mail accounts in one.
But on the Droid, you don't.
Well, specifically on the Droid, you don't even have a standard email client.
No.
Like a Samsung to Huawei, you've got completely different email, different functions, different ways to be set up, different security problems. Yeah. Whereas the iPhone makes it a little easy because it's cookie cutter. We'll just use that app. Well, I brought other topics, but I don't think we're getting to them, so I'll save some of them for next week. And if they go stale, I'll just pull them off of our document. Does anybody have any recommendations? I don't have my recommendation people online right now, but if you guys got recommendations, or I just wrote down Blue Mail. I'm going to look into whatever that is. If you've got any application, website, movies, books, audiobooks, podcasts, like I said, check out Darknet Diaries. A very interesting story about the Superbox, and it really enlightens you to products that are entering our market and how to feel about them.
I do an irreverent plug.
An irreverent plug? Is it for your books? I keep them on our document.
It's not for my books.
Okay. Go ahead.
If any of the members have children or grandchildren that are contemplating entering the trucking and transportation industry, and they would like to see if they are well suited for a number of positions or careers, they can go to a website and be able to access and take at no charge a behavioral assessment for a wide variety of careers, including truck driver, diesel mechanic, forklift operator, operations manager, and driver recruiter.
So what's the site?
Starbehaviors.com.
Starbehaviors.com. That's with a U, right?
No. IORS.
IORS. I'm a horrible speller. And I've lived in different countries, so I get stuff mixed up sometimes. Okay. So I'm going to double check that this works. Thank you, TJ. Hey, I wanted to mention.
Select Star Advisor under programs, and it will take folks directly to those behavioral assessments at no charge.
And this is all the trucking industry.
Within trucking and transportation.
Okay. So I think it was 60 Minutes I just saw about the illegitimate, these.
Super ego.
I was thinking of you as I was watching. I'm like, these are those crooks that TJ stopped working for.
Similar.
Yeah.
Similar. Super ego is Eastern European, Russian mafia, how to trying to beat the system and have put incredible financial pressure onto legitimate trucking companies that are trying to survive.
If you guys don't know what we're talking about, there was a 60 Minutes that was showing. Well, what do they call them? What's the name for that kind of?
Chameleon carriers.
Chameleon carriers. That's right. It was catchy. I wish I could have remembered it. But they actually had video of a trucker pulling a sticker off of his door and pulling the what's that code called? That authorization code?
The MC code, the MC number and USDOT number.
Just pulling them away and having a completely different trucking company underneath it with a different identification number. And apparently these chameleon carriers are running throughout the United States. What are they bringing? Like trucks from different trucking companies have all been conglomerated?
Well, what they're doing is they're registering multiple trucking carriers under the USDOT numbers. And so as one trucking entity gets into trouble running in violation, The driver just peels off the number.
And now they're
And
working
now
under
we're
a
working
different one.
for the next legitimate company.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, the company that had been in trouble previously, 6 months later, a year later, things are cleaned up because they're not operating under that number, and they just keep cycling them through.
So it's almost like the same truck is registered for different trucking companies.
Right.
Right. But that's not
It's
the
illegal.
way. That's illegal. Okay, I was hoping you'd say that because I don't know whether something like that's legal or not. Sure looked illegal.
There's nothing legal about the word illegal.
Well, except the last part. You drop the ill. Okay, all right. We can tell we've reached the end because Scott's mind has turned to tapioca. If there is anything left to be said, this is the moment to say it. Otherwise, hold your peace until next meeting. We will meet again next Tuesday. It will be an in-person meeting unless something happens to me. You'll know ahead of time, of course. Here at Tequila's at 10. Until then, everyone, tech on.
Adios. Bye.
Adios, guys. All right, TJ. Yeah, I was watching that. Oh, I guess I should. All right.
Did you find the website?
I did, and I stuck it in our document.
Okay. And star